Welcome to a web edition of Cuse Countdown. I'm Bailey Lipschultz alongside men's lacrosse beat reporter Chris Thompson and our analyst Brianna Adams. Guys, Syracuse back-to-back big wins, but what makes this team offensively so much different than it was last year?
Bailey, last year, you went to 3 or 4 guys on offense, and they proved it last game that you can almost rely on anyone out there. We saw guys who never got any time, Matt Lane, Derek DeJoe, they were all contributing last week.
I agree. The offense is very well-rounded, and because of that, this team is going to be doing very well because they don't have to depend on their star players.
Talk about a lot of guys getting in on that score sheet. Let's take a look at Syracuse's last game, a game in which it dominated number 12 Albany when it came to the Carrier Dome. Right off the bat, SU getting loose, taking on an Albany team, first time in 5 years without a Thompson. Right off the bat, less than a minute in, Jordan Evans rocking the 22, puts Syracuse up 1-0. Less than a minute later, Timmy Baba taking it to the house on Blaze Reardon. Syracuse early 2-0 lead, but for Albany, it doesn't stop there. A nice feed from Connor Field to Justin Wren in the crease. Syracuse now only up 2. Later on in the first half, Dylan Donahue helping to create pressure, takes the ball away. The goalie's out of the net. Easy find to Devin Schul. Syracuse led by 4 at that point early in the second half. And then this one, Jordan Evans in the crease. Nice cut off of Dylan Donahue, fine. And then Derek DeJoe, top cheddar. Syracuse goes on to win 16-7. Absolutely dominating the Albany Great Danes in this one. Seth Oakes playing well for Albany. He was a player who played well and when these teams met up last year. But Derek DeJoe with a hat trick, as well as Nick Mariano, the Orange, dominant over the number 12 Albany Great Danes in this one. And guys, someone who hasn't shown up on much of the box scores because it is so stat heavy for the offense is Nick Mellon. Chris, how much has he stepped up since Sean Young graduated a year ago?
Well, the biggest proof is how he held Connor Fields to only 2 assists last week. He had 0 goals on 7 shots, and that is honestly something incredible. The other thing about Mellon, though, is that whenever he picks up a ground ball, he is the key guy for that transition offense. He can just navigate through swarms of attackers, as we just saw right there.
And another thing about Nick Mellon, he's not your average height for a defender. He's about 5'9", and because of that, he has to be quick on his feet and know how to read his defenders or the offense. So because of that, he's been doing so well because he has to be quick on his feet. He has to be able to react extremely quickly, and that's why he's been doing amazing.
We will have to wait and see how Mellon and the Syracuse defense stacks up against the Army Black Knights. But now we go to Coach John Desko with his thoughts on the Orange in their preparation for this matchup.
And we know that Army doesn't look at the scoreboard, that they're going to play the same whether they're down by a couple or up by a couple. It's a well-coached team, a disciplined team, and they're like ourselves. They've had some good graduation. They're trying to get better from week to week, and judging by the film, they've been able to do that.
Dylan's doing outstanding distributing the ball, and our midfielders are definitely going to have a lot more pressure on them this week since how well they played last week. So I think that opens up a little bit for us on attack as far as dodging and stuff like that. So we look forward to doing that.
Jordan Evans brought up how he and the rest of the midfield will have to step up. But Chris, when it's all said, or going into this game, who is your X factor?
It's got to be Warren Hill for me. Brianna, he gave up 6 goals on 8 shots through the first 3 quarters last week. Ben Williams helped him out because he kept picking up the ball, and Syracuse was on attack for a majority of that game. But it just doesn't seem like Warren Hill has still escalated to that Division I level. Let's see if he can handle a team that scored 22 goals last week.
Yeah, I agree. But my X factor is going to be, instead of going for a player, I'm going to go for a factor that Syracuse needs to have, and that's consistency. Even though you have Warren Hill, who's not doing as well as he is expected, the team is very well rounded with Nick Mellon, and you have Dylan Donahue giving the ball, distributing the ball to other players, giving them all a chance. And because of that, they've been scoring very well. They've been blocking enough shots, even against Siena and against Albany.
This is a Syracuse team that is stacked from top to bottom. But Brianna, when the clock strikes 0, what is your prediction for this matchup?
I'm going to say 18-7 because I believe that the offense is doing very well. They're going to be able to mess around with the ball a little bit. Army isn't as well stacked as Albany, but they did beat Virginia Military Institute 22-3, so they will still pick up 7 goals in the loss to Syracuse.
Yep, I agree. Syracuse is going to win, but it's going to be 15-9. Ben Williams is simply not going to win those first 11 faceoffs again. Nick Paroli is going to be out again. Tim Barber, we're not sure if he'll be able to play again this week. Another two things, but still, Syracuse's talent level overall is just too much for Army to handle.
Both our analyst and beat reporter taking Syracuse heavily in this one. For Chris Thompson and Brianna Adams, I'm Bailey Lipschultz. Thank you for watching.